Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Going to continue this series on paranormal stuff. I'm gonna call what I called the Medusa story. And like I said, I'm going to get another source and his side of the story and details on it and make a second video on this. But it was one occurrence, and it was a one long occurrence with a lot of crap that happened, and let's there was just a lot of stuff. So I was like 9 or 10 o'clock. 9 or 10 o'clock. I was like uh 9 or 10 years old. Probably a little bit more older. I'm staying at my cousin's house, and it was like a big family thing. Everybody was hanging out, partying. Um, Me, my cousin, and a bunch of my cousin's friends from school, and they went into his room and shut the door. And eventually, screaming started coming out from his room, and it was like, "What the hell?" And I went and opened the door, and they were like, "Don't shut the door! Don't shut the door!" I shut the door, and they're still freaking out. And they said there was a ghost ball on the doorknob, or like an orb on the doorknob, or whatever. And of course, I ignored it, and I went to go back into the living room, and um, a little bit longer afterwards, they all come piling out of his room into the living room, and basically create this giant pilot in the middle of the living room. Um, so me and my cousin Boogie were on the couch, uh, and uh, keep spacing out. I can't remember what point, but at one point, everything electronically started going off. Like the fish tank light turned off, the lights in the house turned off, and everything was just, you know, complete black. Even my cousin's lightsaber, which he was using as like a flashlight or something, um, he went off and used that and, like, whacked it on a chair a bunch of times to get it to work and stay lit, and eventually it just turned off. Like, it just glitched, stopped working. Um, so we were all freaking out because of that, and I remember quite vividly sitting. My cousin Boogie's on the left of me. He's sleeping. Caleb's on the right. Uh, and I look over, and he's crying, and I'm like, "Why are you crying? You're like a teenager. You're older than me. Don't get it." And there's a Medusa head on the wall. This is why I call it the Medusa story. It's a stone Medusa face, and it's like painted as Medusa, and had like black eyes. The eyes moved and looked down at Boogie, and of course we patched. We freaked the frick out. We were like, "What?" And later on that night, he would say that something reached through the living room door, like specter-wise, and tried to grab him, and that made him freak out. Much later on to the night, took a rock and threw it in a room that was considered to be the most active or haunted part of the house. And later on, when everybody had finally calmed down and started falling asleep, or just getting tired in general, I was awake. The rock came bouncing out, flying back at me. And I was like, "What the fuck? What was that?" And Yeah, that was no bueno. Um, so I ended up falling asleep and waking up the next morning. Everybody was real chill about it next morning. It was weird. Like, just some kind of switch went off. Everybody was watching Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp version, and eating cereal. And kind of talked about it, kind of didn't talk about it. Uh, my cousin Boogie passed away recently this year. May he rest in peace. Uh, which is kind of another creepy thing about it because he was on the couch and it looked down kind of towards me, towards him. And yeah, that's just ugh. Um yeah. Well, I will try to get another, like I said, source, um, and do a part two of this video. Um, get some details on what that other person uh remembers or what he thinks he can remember. Uh, Also, I think that's the same house I got my head sliced open by a ceiling fan, so that's fun. I remember that. Um, yeah, you just kind of playing on a top bunk, and the fan went doom, like that, and started bleeding everywhere and freaking out. And my aunt was like, uh, I was crying. She's like, "Calm down, no, you're bleeding." I turned and showed her, and I was bleeding. She was like, "Oh my god!" And there was an ambulance. And I remember like ice on my head, and then like not being allowed on trampoline because the ice would melt or whatever, and they wanted the ice to put the swelling down. Um, I still had the scar. Uh, yeah. So yeah, that house was not a fun house. Just people there were cool, chill, but the house, no. Up. Oh, see you later. Have a good one. Um, yeah.